Happy Sabbath, everybody. Sunday morning here in Hawaii and whatever it is in your part of the world. Welcome to another episode of Behind the Fiends Zone Video Behind the Counter. Today I am joined by Shawn Thompson, aka Commissioner Gordon, from the new film by Anthony Caimano called The Killing Joke. It's not the only film he's been in. He's also been in The House That Eats Flesh, Under Three Moons, and Dr. Gift, to name a few. He's also ironically born on Friday the 13th, and he runs a charitable organization called Backpacks from the Heart, which help homeless children, a local homeless shelter for kids and the homeless at large in downtown Orlando, Florida. So, without any further ado, I will bring in Mr. Shawn, aka Commissioner Gordon Thompson. Hey, what's going on, John?
Hey, brother. How you doing this morning?
Not too bad. Had a little stumble there on your on your charity that you do. Sorry.
No worries. I appreciate you even announcing it at all. Thank you.
Oh, I am big about that, man. We have a really bad homeless problem here in Hawaii, and I've been known to just hand the homeless dude $20, and people will be like, he's just going to go buy drugs or something like that. Well, I said, do you know that for a fact?
Exactly.
If you don't, then, you just let me do what I do and you go do what you do. And we'll all be fine.
Yep. Yeah, that's how it started out, was taking care of some of the homeless in downtown Orlando, giving supplies to them that they need. And then it kind of, after a couple of years of an annual outing of that, decided to see where we could also use, the limited funds and limited, base that we had to grow from. Found a women and children's shelter in Sanford, and so I was like, this would be kind of fun to see if I can get the ages and the genders of the kids in the women and children's shelter and give them wrapped Christmas presents so they can celebrate Christmas. So we did that, and then so we added that one year, and that's each of these is basically compounding onto itself, and then decided that I was going to pick up the pediatric cancer center in Orlando. The kids that go for their treatments, the chemotherapy treatments, they sit there for hours. And so I pick up coloring books, activity books, crayons and stuff like that. So they have something to do while they're there getting their treatments. And then the last other thing that I picked up was one of the schools in DeLand, the place that I work for. They were taking care of them, or they adopted that particular elementary school. It's one of the poor elementary schools in a local area, so bad so that a lot of the kids can't afford school supplies. So each fall semester, I try to load them up with as many school supplies as possible, so that the way the teachers can hand out is whatever the kids need without any hesitation. So it's I've been blessed, and I have a calling to give back to the community. You give back or pay it forward, as I call it, when you're blessed the way I have been.
Well, good Lord's got a special place in heaven for you there, my friend. I will say that. Ain't too many people in this world like you, and if we had more like you, the world would be better off.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Morgan says homeless are mostly mentally ill people who need health care. Well, not all.
There's some. Well, I was gonna say there are some issues. I've talked to some people out there, because when I go out there, I just don't hand them stuff and run. I talk to them. I'll sit with some for a long time. It's amazing. There was one guy I'll never forget. It was a Thanksgiving, and I went to a church. We were doing a Thanksgiving dinner for the homeless, and we were just serving meals. Didn't think anything of it. Not a big deal. Kind of going through the thing. You sit and you talk, and all of a sudden, some amazing piano, like professional classical music, was playing, and I was like, oh, I guess the church organist or something showed up, and I look over, and it was one of the homeless people. And apparently he he was a professional pianist, had done concert halls, the whole nine yards. I mean, it's not my area, so I can't speak to exactly where, when, all that kind of stuff. But basically he had one medical issue, and that put him out on the streets. He was homeless. And he just kind of took it upon himself. He said, I had already eaten, and I wanted to provide an environment for other people. And I was like, that sentiment blew my mind. The fact that there was somebody that was that talented, that skilled, and felt compelled as a homeless person to go, I've eaten, I want to provide an environment for everybody else now if I can. And we were just in awe. So
Were you all ever able to like find him a job within the music industry at all? Maybe,
I,
or
I don't know if the church would have helped. There were some. It's really cool, and we used to twice a month for about 3 or 4 years in a row. We used to hand out clothes, food, and health and beauty items, and some local people would come down and cut hair and do that stuff if they wanted haircuts. And they would actually help them get these jobs. Like in Orlando when there's the sporting events. They pay $10 to park in this parking lot, kind of thing. They would find them little temp jobs like that. And there were several people that were homeless that were on one side of the table receiving. And after a year or 2 years, they would get these little part-timer, contract jobs or whatever you want to call them. And you would you could literally visually see improvement. You would see the gaunt face start to fill out. We were giving them dress shirts so they could go on interviews, hygiene products so they could, brush teeth and do all that kind of stuff. And like I said, they would cut their hair so they have a nice presentation, get them to specific job interviews for contract jobs. And there were several people that went from the receiving side of the table to establishing multiple jobs in a row, finding temporary shelters, finding more permanent shelters, and then jumping onto the other side of the table and saying, we're going to now that I'm out, I want to help give back to other people too. So it was really neat to watch that. My kids were blessed to be able to experience a couple people in particular. They were little, and they would literally, this one gentleman in particular, run up and give him a hug. And how often can you say you have kids that are willing to walk up and give a guy a hug that is someone that was there every single week, or excuse me, every 2 weeks, because we did it twice a month for a couple years, and watched as this gentleman grew from someone that probably most people would be scared to talk to or approach to a guy that you could not have discerned between him and myself which one of us a year ago was homeless. It was amazing. And he was like, I'm here to help, setting up tables, breaking down tables, distributing food, the whole 9 yards. So very cool stuff. People, given the chance, and most importantly, given the notion that somebody believes in you, which provides you the ability to have hope. Hopelessness is what spirals a person downward into the darkness and ultimately death. If you have even a glimpse of hope, and you can maintain that glimpse of hope, and it's fed upon a little bit more and a little bit more, you can dig your way out.
yeah, because you never know what these people's backstories are. Some of them come from broken homes. Some of them basically don't know anything but growing up on the streets, and anything outside of growing up on the streets, a lot of them, it scares the hell out of them because they're leaving an environment they've only known. And I know here in Hawaii, homeless problem is bad. And a lot of it is drug related. I get it. But Orlando's not a cheap city to live in by no stretch. But here in Honolulu, Waikiki, all that, everybody sees the pristine hotels and the 5-star restaurants and the shopping and the Lamborghini dealerships and all that. But what you don't see is when you look behind the curtain, the actual, effect that the cost of living here has on just regular people. The people that aren't privileged, the people that don't have millions of dollars and can't eat at 5-star restaurants, and they have 3 generations of family living in one apartment, and you're paying $3,000 for a 4-bedroom single-story apartment and stuff like it's stupid. Yeah. And then when you look at it, no wonder there's people on the streets.
Yeah.
Who's going to make that much money? I was blessed that I got this studio apartment. I don't live in nothing extravagant. I basically live in Harry Potter's closet. That's what I nicknamed it. But I pay.
It looks like you got a good movie collection behind you, though.
Green screen. I wish it was. I would live in a Blockbuster in a heartbeat. But
I saw a guy on Facebook who turned his basement. It was, I guess, a guy up north, because we don't have basements in Florida, obviously. A guy up north had turned his basement into what looked like a Blockbuster. It had the shelves and everything. And I was like, nostalgia based. That was just so neat.
My God, I I seen that same dude, and it's like, man, you're living the dream because that's something I want. I just have a make believe one behind me, and then when I turn the camera off, it just goes back to regular old studio apartment, But yeah, I mean, this studio apartment, I pay $900 a month for it, and then when I look, I'm from North Carolina, and when I look at the cost of living back home, $900 is like a 2-story apartment with like 3 bedrooms where I'm from.
Yeah.
So you do the math.
Yeah. Now I remember I lived in Carolina for about a year. Beautiful, beautiful part of the country. Oh my gosh.
And I bet it was a lot cheaper in Orlando too.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Florida, I mean, my ex-wife, she's from Florida and she was from Jacksonville.
Okay.
And the cost of living in that state as a whole ain't so bad, but when you go to Miami and you go to Orlando and places like that, oh my God.
I remember I do computer software development for a living, and I was consultant for several years. And I had somebody that wanted me to come down to Miami area to do some consulting. And there was a website back in the day when I did consulting that would kind of tell you, I forgot what the app or the web page was called, but you'd put basically, this is where I live now, and this is what I make now, and this is where I'm going. What do I need to make there? And we're talking Central Florida to Miami, and it was 2.5 times. I have to build them 2.5 times just to live comparable to what I'm living now. I'm like, they're not going to go for that. It was just insane. It was the same state.
Yeah. My dad grew up in Huntington, West Virginia, and West Virginia is not that expensive. But you also don't see a whole lot of people flocking to be there. If they could see what West Virginia, especially in what they call the holler or the valley, if you saw that during the fall when the leaves are changing, everybody'd want to live there. But even there in Ohio, I was looking at his cost of living one day, his utility bills and stuff. I was like, man, this makes me sick.
I bet. Yeah, I've heard. Hawaii is absolutely gorgeous, and it's a bucket list location. But I've heard it's expensive to even go travel there.
I make $27 an hour at my job. I am like Geek Squad for cars, so I do computer programming on cars, blind spot monitors, backup cameras, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, very cool.
So I make 27 an hour doing that, and then I get Army retirement. So my retirement from the Army is almost $2,000 a month. Okay. So you do, and back home, oh God, I'd be living like, Daddy Warbucks, but over here, nope.
Yeah. Now I remember somebody telling me they went there and they got off, and apparently they said I can't remember if they said they forgot sunglasses or if they forgot chapstick, but they forgot something anyway. They got off the plane and went into the gift store, and 3, 4, 5 times as much as it is over here. And I was like, all right, that's cool. We're good.
So a gallon of milk probably in Florida, I would say, is what? $4 bucks?
Yeah, about $4.
So since the inflation really hit us lately, I went into Walmart the other night. I collect vinyl records, as you know. I used to collect comics, but then I gave that up, and now I collect vinyl records, which is more expensive. And I go in there because every now and then they get some good ones. And I was sitting there, and I just walked around to the grocery section, and I got looking. I was like, "Holy crap, dude! $8 for a gallon of milk."
Oh my gosh, I'd have to curb my milk drinking because I drink about 2/3 of a gallon of milk a day. So
yeah, I drink a protein shake for breakfast every morning, and even the soy, which I don't drink a whole lot of soy because I did research that soy is actually bad for men in large doses. So yeah, something about it causes it restricts our testosterone production, especially in middle-aged men.
Okay.
So I use oat milk, and even oat milk, I was like, holy crap, like $6-7 for just a little carton. And it's like, well, I'm guessing it's hard to squeeze that milk out of them oats or something. I don't know. But yeah, because I'm retired from the military, I still have access to commissaries and stuff like that. So I'm paying what you all are paying on the mainland. So I don't see the inflation quite as much.
But just because Walmart the one time you actually felt
and I just out of curiosity, because every now and then I'll buy some stuff from there if I don't feel like going out to the base.
Sure.
But I've never bought milk and meat and stuff like that from there because it's too expensive. But not like that. I was like, geez, Louise, bro.
$8 a gallon. That's insane. That's utterly
That's
insane.
got to be some golden cows or something. I don't know what. But when I was out of curiosity, they say every time the cost of a barrel of oil goes up, it instantly drives up everything else to include
Yeah.
food.
Yeah, because everybody's got to transport it. So they're not going to take the hit, so they just pass it on. No big deal. Which, I mean, I get. It sucks. You can push so far. At some point, what'll end up happening, people start sacrificing. I guess I won't eat this, and then people will have to lower the prices.
Well, I can say, being a veteran of 2 tours of a war, every time we've had a war, the initial, well, we're not at war, but
Right.
it instantly always drives everything up. I remember when 9/11 happened and we first invaded Afghanistan, price of gas went up like $1.25, something like that. It's always done that for whatever reason. And then as the conflict goes on, the economy somehow gets a little better.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm not quite sure I understand the logic behind that one, but
Oh, I mean, like World War II solved the Great Depression, for Lord's sake. I mean, well, what we're here for is your acting career and not talking about the price of gas. What started you down the road of acting?
well, like I mentioned, I'm a computer nerd. I'll be honest and admit it. I'm proud of it. But was doing that. We got into COVID. I actually worked for a medical company, so we were doing some of the stuff for COVID testing, and but I wasn't going into the office, working from home, and I started kind of finding I had some additional time on my hands because everything was closed, so you really couldn't go out anywhere and do anything anymore. Coupled with that, my kids had gotten out of high school, kind of started doing their own thing, so all those hours that I would spend, whether it was at as a soccer coach or a football coach or a Cub Scout den leader or those kind of things, all those were freed up. And I was like, well, I got to find something to do to occupy my abundance of occupant time now. So one of the first things I did, I saw a couple of YouTube videos of some guys making some Friday the 13th masks, some custom masks, different designs and shapes and that kind of stuff. I was like, well, this is kind of cool. I mean, Friday the 13th, I was born on Friday the 13th. It's, my franchise passion, if you will. So kind of did that for probably about a year or so, and I still kind of do it from time to time. But that started getting me into some social media connections that otherwise I would not have had, connecting me with individuals, connecting me with groups, which connected me with different individuals. And I started hearing this murmuring on social media about these fan films, which I had never even heard of before. So I kind of inquired what it was about, saw that there's a bunch of these things going on, heard about one in particular, Roseblood, which is a Friday the 13th fan film, and was afforded the opportunity to be a character in Peter's film. Have zero acting background whatsoever and zero acting. I've never done anything like that before. I'm an introvert on a computer for 12 hours a day. So the idea of getting in front of a bunch of people and, well, heck, the idea of getting in front of a camera like I'm doing with you right now is so far out of my natural realm. But I was like, I will definitely give this a shot because I've always been someone that says if you got a chance to do something, you just go for it. What the hell? So I did it. My character, he had probably like maybe a dozen lines at most, which was a nice introduction into, we don't want you to memorize monologues because you're new. And here's a few lines, here's a few lines, here's a few screams, here's a few yells. And I had an absolute blast. I was amazed to see what goes on ahead of time, what happens after the fact, what goes on in the filming process. Met the most amazing and the most talented people I've ever met in my entire life. Hard worker, dedicated, the whole 9 yards, and was just completely blown away by the experience as a whole. And so I was like, I'm hooked. I want to do this. Like I said, I can't, knock on wood, I can't do this as a career. I don't believe I have the formalized training to do it as a career. And, but I'm like, you know what? I want to do this for fun. And I want to see if I can take this passion that I have and turn it into something really exciting and contribute to something that's a lot bigger than me. So that's kind of, and it kind of just very quickly blossomed, and it's been like I said, I've been very blessed. It's been very fruitful, and I've been doing this only for we're in April, but coming up on April, so 15 months, and it's been unbelievable. Just the connections made, the talented people I've met, the friendships, and what I would consider to be family that I've met through all of this, and there's just no experience like it ever. It's amazing.
Well, for 15 months, you've got one heck of a IMDb going, as far as acting credits. Geez, House That Eats Flesh. Are you in Rose City Butcher or whatever that movie is Anthony's doing?
Yeah, I'm actually. That's a funny. The Flower City Butcher.
Yeah, Flower City Butcher. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
sorry, Anthony.
that's funny. I play a character named Basil, and then I haven't gotten the script yet. But Anthony, I was asking him if he had any roles because again, I don't have a really deep resume as of yet. I don't have a lot of experience with released films where somebody can go, "Oh, I saw you in these 9 films. We need to cast you." So a lot of it is me basically just being the annoying person that's pulling on people saying, "Hey, do you have anything for me? Do you have anything for me?" I don't care if it's speaking, not speaking, large, small, foreground, background, whatever. It doesn't matter. Can I just get on your set and show you what I can do? And Anthony was like, I need someone that's kind of big and he doesn't have a lot of lines, but he's menacing and kind of angry looking and just intimidating and kind of pissed off. Can you do that? And I'm like, yeah, I can do that. I can. So I sent him a couple pictures, some background, some behind the scenes pictures from The House That Eats Flesh. And he was like, that's what I need right there. And I'm like, we can do that. I can do angry and mad and intimidating. Hell yeah. So I will be Basil. I don't even know what Basil does or Basil's role in that particular film, but I will be the intimidating, pissed off Basil in that film.
Yeah, I'm like you. I'm very much an introvert too. And every time I meet new people, Energon is like, "Oh no, a new person!" And you probably are like, "You sound like you're a natural at this."
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, but really inside I'm screaming, "He's new! He's new! Stranger danger! I don't know how to talk to new people."
Well, my girlfriend's adorable because she's an introvert, and I would say I'm an introvert again. I have the best profession in the world. I put my earbuds in. I go on my 3 screens. I just do my thing, and some days I don't speak all day. And she's like, well, how can you go on set and be an actor and do all these things if you're supposed to be an introvert? And I'm looking at, I joke with her. I'm like, do me a favor, look at some of the behind the scenes pictures that get shared. And sure enough, it's so funny because when between the action and cut, I'm like, yes, and here, and I'm And then you look at some of the behind the scenes pictures and everybody's in the foreground and laughing and joking. And I'm usually in the background, just kind of playing on my quietly by myself. And she's like, oh yeah, there you are, right back there. And I'm like,
I am going to I'm going to post this on Facebook if I can come across that. There was pictures from 8th grade,
okay.
and there was a bunch of us. My school used to go to Washington D.C. for a class trip.
Sure.
And I remember it's funny when I go back and look at it. I never paid attention to it. There was a picture of me and all my friends, and there was like 2 girls, my best friend, and another dude, and they were all like huddled together, and then kind of like 5 feet away is John just sitting there like,
hey, how's it going on? Over here, guys. That's awesome.
just looking like a complete loser, just sitting over there staring at the camera.
As soon as I mentioned that to her, I kind of showed her some of the pictures, and she's like, oh, look, there you are in the background, way back there playing on your phone. And yep, in that picture, everybody's laughing and having fun. And you're way back there in the background over there, too. I'm like, yeah, there you go. There's your introvert. So.
I'm introvert, too. Let's form a club. Yeah, we can call it Super Society of Lonely.
and everybody can have individual meetings quietly in their own room and not talk to each other.
And Luke with the ghost.
That's awesome.
No, but I've always been I was a single child, only child, I should say. And I always entertained myself as a kid. I didn't have siblings. So being an introvert kind of came natural to me, I guess. It was just part of who I was. And I was also kind of the weird kid where I grew up because I was a comic book nerd and skater and all that. And where I grew up was, kids wanting to go out hunting and fishing and all this other stuff. And here comes weird John down the street, talking about horror movies and who Spider-Man fought last week, just so.
Yep. I always had my Dungeons and Dragons books, and that was kind of what I hung out in. And every once in a while, we got to play if we mustered up enough courage to actually get 2 or 3 people together to play a game. But otherwise, it was just kind of reading the D&D books quietly by myself. It's like, that's me.
Dude, I came across, you remember these books when we were kids called Choose Your Own Adventure, where you would be reading it and it would give you a list of options and then you go to that page? I came across one of those the other day and I came that close to buying it, but I was sitting there and it brought back memories because I was like, dude, I remember when I had asthma as a kid, there was times I missed a lot of school because of the asthma. And I remember reading those all the time. And it was like playing a video game because if you went to the wrong page, your adventure ended and you had to start all over again.
Yep. I love those books. They were phenomenal. I mean, I found a bunch on eBay several years ago. I actually bought the cluster of them because, they were used and old and it was like, $5 for all of them. I was like, heck yeah. I skimmed through them and it was, like you said, it was a nostalgic take you back and it was really cool. And then I ended up donating them to somebody that had a son that was kind of an introvert that he said he didn't go out very often. I was like, give him kind of these books and see if he has some fun with them or not. And he had a blast with them. And but it was very neat to have that nostalgic moment of the growing up and the Choose Your Own Adventures. Very cool stuff.
I forget the name of the author that wrote them, but I wish I could meet him and be like, sir, you provided entertainment to me for a lot of sick days. But
most definitely.
So how did you come across Commissioner Gordon? You don't seem like a Commissioner Gordon type. You seem more, I don't know, more of a Batman-ish type than a Commissioner Gordon.
Well, I'm not sure. I've seen a bunch of different Commissioner Gordons, the different portrayals of the Commissioner, and it'll be very interesting to see how he's played. He seems to be, I'm trying to see a melange of the different roles that I've seen played by him. I'll definitely have to take him down several notches, maybe not have a couple monsters before playing that role. But we'll have to see. Anthony even commented on a podcast that he had done, or a live stream that he had done, I guess it was, that somebody had mentioned that that Commissioner Gordon's kind of a nerdy character. And he said, he goes, I know how to pick him. And I'm like, okay, so we're going to see if we can go into Anthony's vision of me being Commissioner Gordon, because I don't think I'm a Batman by any stretch of the imagination, but I'll be curious to see how I can pull off Gordon. Like I said, there's a lot of different actors that have played him in the different, forays, if you will, of the Batman series. And I kind of plan to watch several of them and kind of try to form a hybrid of them all.
Well, what I was meaning is, like, I've never seen a jacked Commissioner Gordon before. I've always seen him like old man, kind of, lanky with a little bit of
we're going to get rid of this, I think. We're going to do a little bit more of the white on here. We'll have some fun with it. I have to grow this out for a film that I'm doing in May, so it's an adventure.
Well, the thing about Gordon is I've always seen Gordon. He is what Batman wanted to be, and Gordon sees in Batman what he wishes he could be. So they're like, two sides of the same coin,
Sure. But it is interesting because I was watching one the other night, and I don't remember which one it was, but he was almost he didn't play like an alpha aggressive male or an alpha aggressive role. He was very quiet and seemingly kind of passive, and people were talking almost at him as opposed to with him. So that will definitely speak to the quieter, more subdued introvert that my girlfriend knows me as. I'll kind of tone it down some and play a more toned down and let people kind of speak at me more so than me having an equal conversation with them. Even though he's a commissioner, people, they literally are. He definitely doesn't carry himself, like you said, like a jacked, I'm going to tell you what to do. It's like, okay, we're going to do that.
And if Anthony watches this, always remember Commissioner Gordon, like Alfred, is always or has always been the conscience and the voice of reason for Batman.
Yes.
So Alfred is more of the conscience and the voice of reason for Bruce Wayne.
Bruce Wayne, yeah.
Whereas Gordon has been that for Bruce Wayne's alternate personality of Batman. Like, remember, don't take it too far,
Right. We
do
have to stay within the confines of the law, whereas Batman tries to push that. I need to do what I need to do, period.
Yeah, he won't kill by his code, but he will step on the line of.
Yeah. Well, going back to the D&D reference, I would argue that he's kind of a chaotic good character, if you will. I know what needs to get done, and I'm going to get done what needs to get done, even if I'm stepping outside the rules. Whereas Commissioner Gordon, if I need to keep you within the rules just because.
Well, when you always looked at Batman and his rogues gallery, Batman is essentially a sufferer of some kind of mental, psychosis, as his rogues gallery are, where you have the Riddler, who's obsessed with knowledge and being the most intelligent man on earth, and that obsession drives him to do not so nice things. Two-Face is torn by, multiple personality disorder.
Right.
Joker, he's just a sociopath without any feeling whatsoever.
Yeah.
Harley Quinn was, damaged by Joker and very easily influenced to do things that she knows that she probably shouldn't do. Well, when you read the comic now, Harley's kind of, because she became so popular, you had to make her kind of a good guy. She just got such a fan base that it was like, damn, we can't keep her a villain. There's just no way for her to keep her a villain.
I wonder if that speaks to the character, the producer of that film, or the actress that played the role, that they knew, if they knew that she was going to be, if she was going to blow up the way she did, because she went from, like you said, kind of a particular thing to they almost had a revelation to go, oh man, we have to do something completely outside because she's huge.
Well, when Paul Dini and Bruce, oh god, I can't think of his last name. Anyway, the creators of the Batman the Animated Series, Paul Dini especially, he created Harley Quinn.
Mm-hmm.
And she was basically just created as a character to be a sidekick to the Joker, kind of a love interest in a sense, and they never expected her to become just this over the top powerhouse within that, within Batman canon. So they ended up basically getting forced into a corner, like, we have to include her into the comics continuity. There's just no other way around it. She has become so mesmerizing to the fan base that she ended up appearing in what was it called? Mad Love, I think, was her first appearance.
Okay.
And from there, then she got her own spinoff series. She got all kinds of other stuff, and she was always bad.
Right.
But like I said, the popularity of the character just couldn't allow her to be bad anymore. They ended up making her more of an anti-hero, kind of like a Deadpool type.
Exactly. Yeah, that's kind of where I equate her to. It's almost like a Deadpool character, because in that Suicide movie, she, everything she's doing, I'm bad, I'm evil, I'm this, but you're rooting for her the whole time, and you're cheering her on. So you're like, wait a minute. So
yeah, she's beating somebody's brains out with a baseball bat, and you're like, go Harley, yeah, yay. And like your character, especially in the Killing Joke comic, I don't know if you've read the book, the actual comic. If I would read it, just for reference sake.
Definitely.
The whole story is based around what is Joker's true origin. Okay. Alan Moore wrote it around what is his true origin, and they give you different possibilities. But it's also the almost, I don't know, murder of Jim Gordon in terms of his humanity. He gets driven to almost insanity, basically, and I'm not going to spoil it for what drives him to that, but it's damn good, because you almost start to think, well, Gordon's actually going to turn in this. He's going to become just like Joker, you know. But it's dark. I remember when that book came out in '88, and I remember buying it, and I got home with it, and I was like, "Holy shit, this is freaking dark. This ain't Adam West and Burt Ward. This is."
Well, that's been to say for someone that I never really got into the comics, and obviously I didn't do the books. I was more the Adam West Joker, TV show as a kid, and that obviously translated to Jack Nicholson and what's his name playing Batman. First movie.
Oh, Michael Keaton.
Thank you. And so it's been, not knowing the cartoon or comic book Joker, when he started going evil, killing, dark, I was like, this is not the Joker goofing off guy that I remember growing up. And someone had to explain to me that was a whole different Joker. This is real Joker. And I was like, man, this is some evil shit. And with the last film that was put out, or one of several years ago now, that was seriously messed up. The guy that was in I'm not good with actors' names. The guy that was in Signs, the younger brother,
Joaquin Phoenix.
Thank you. Yeah, Joaquin. I mean, when he was doing that, and on stage when he goes on the talk show, and you're just like, holy crap. So
but he was driven to that.
Yeah,
that movie.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see that to watch the I guess you call it the devolution of man right before your eyes, to someone that's existing day to day, to someone that literally just doesn't care anymore about anything and just finds pleasure in that. And you're like, whoa.
It shows you basically, if you push a person for too long and you think they're weak and they don't have a spine and this, that, and the other, you can only push them for so long until they become absolutely, basically one of the most dangerous things that you could possibly imagine, because you push a person to a point where they got nothing left to lose anymore.
Yeah.
And they don't care.
And as soon as that going back to what we talked about before, when that last glimmer of hope is gone and you're like, there is nothing left to live for at all, at that point you just stop caring, which means everything's on the table now. I don't care anymore. And that's, to be blunt, that's scary shit when you get somebody that's like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, spoilers, I hope a lot of people have seen The Joker with Joaquin Phoenix. It's a great movie. I thought it should have won the Academy Award probably for Best Picture, me personally. But when he was on that talk show and he had that Joker makeup on and he finally had enough of the talk show host and just pulled out that handgun and blew his brains out right there on stage, to me, that was like, that's exactly what needed. Hey, there she is. And she got Batman on. It's Bruce Wayne, everybody. But yeah, I mean, that right there in itself was like, okay, now he's jumped off the cliff. There's no going back anymore.
And I remember watching that, and it was like it was paralleled the studio's reaction to it happening, because you could see, like I said, you could see him devolve, and he was going and going, and you weren't sure what was going to happen. And all of a sudden, you're just like, I remember just sitting there, I was like, holy shit, did that just happen? And you're like, that's him. Holy crap.
And then the whole city started wanting to be like him. And
yeah. I mean, that was, like I said, a far cry from the Adam West day, the happy and jovial Adam West days.
My hope, my sincerest hope, is, being this movie, The Batman with Robert Pattinson, has done so good, that some way they bring Joaquin back and let him be that Joker for Robert Pattinson.
Yes. Yeah. I had my I haven't seen the Batman movie yet because I had my reservations after the whole Twilight, the glistening Batman, if you will, as I joked. I was like, everybody's like, no, this guy's the best I've ever seen. I'm like, come on, you can't be serious. But I mean, people were hardcore. No, this is the best Batman I've ever seen in my life. I'm like, all right, well, I may have to give it a shot because I went into I remember when they first announced it, I was making memes that was joking about it. I'm like, come on, man, this is Twilight. This can't be Batman.
Well, there were so many stories coming out about how Pattinson didn't want to work out for the role. He refused to get in any kind of shape for it. He was hard to work with and was so demanding, and they had setbacks and all this. So you were sitting there thinking the whole time, like, this is doomed to fail. There's no way this is going to work. This is going to be George Clooney, Batman and Robin again. And then all of a sudden, there's people going online going, this is the perfect comic book movie. And I'm like, hold up, Hoss. Not too far just yet. This ain't. And the only gripe I've had about it is the Riddler in it, the way he looks. It's the only gripe I've got. The costume choice for the character. It looks like a mix of My Bloody Valentine and a Gimp or something. I don't know. And
so was the actor okay, or just the outfit?
Just the outfit. I heard his performance was great, but I grew up with the Frank Gorch, however you say his last name, Riddler.
Right.
The green spandex with the question marks all over it. So
exactly.
that's my Riddler. Or the Jim Carrey Riddler, which doesn't get enough credit because to me, Jim Carrey carried that crap movie.
Yes.
So, but
yeah, some of those in the middle. I mean, and if we're going to go on the Batmans, like I said, I love Michael Keaton as Batman, and I even liked Christian Bale, other than the fact because I liked the regiment workout, the fitness aspect of it. The only thing I couldn't stand was the "I'm Batman." That was just too comical, and I just laugh. And I think many would be in agreement with it because even the Big Bang Theory made a joke about it. It was so comical how ridiculous it sounded.
Yeah, he's like, "What did you just say?"
I'm like, every other Batman could just say, "I'm Batman." You don't have to suddenly sound like you've been smoking Camels for 30 years, dude.
There's this YouTube channel called College Humor, and they did the Batman where he's trying to come up with his voice with the crook, and he's going, "Where's the children and the drugs?" He goes, "That's not going to work."
That's not it.
And then he finally got to his voice getting raspy from all the different takes, and he goes, "Where's the drugs?" And they're like, "That's perfect."
Other than his voice doing that, I liked that particular Batman, but yeah, there were a couple in the middle that was like, oh man, no. It's like the James Bond. There's a couple James Bonds that were and always will be, and there's a couple I'm like, I'll just pretend those didn't exist.
Yeah, Timothy Dalton, I wasn't high on.
No.
And I don't blame that on him. I blame that on weak scripts.
Right.
Because those movies that he was in were boring, man. It was like watching paint dry. I'm like, this is not James Bond. James Bond is about action and adventure and espionage and intrigue.
Yeah. Yeah, you should be watching James Bond saying, I want to be that guy, not I need some caffeine to keep me awake.
Yeah. Well, Mandy, have you met Shawn?
No, I have not met Shawn. And you two are going pretty hard at this conversation.
Well, he's going to be Commissioner Gordon in Anthony Caimano's Killing Joke.
Yes, I did see that. I seen all of that posted up and everything about everybody, actually, who's going to be starring in a film. Did you go to Anthony for that part, or did they come to you?
I asked him if there was anything he figured that my look or my frame or anything would be good for. I had chatted with him initially about the Flower City Butcher, about a role that I got there. And after kind of a little back and forth, he said, I have the perfect role for you. And I said, okay, cool. And he said, Commissioner Gordon. I was like, okay. And I obviously knew, from a holistic Commissioner Gordon, the name, the role, didn't know the specifics about it, because usually when you're watching a Batman movie, the couple characters that are the primary characters are the ones you're focusing on. And I did, had to do some YouTube lookups to see, and there's obviously several different Commissioner Gordons, and they all have a kind of a different flavor to them. So I'm going to try to come up with a hybrid of them. I guess tone my outwardness down a little bit to a little bit more chill. And I guess based on what John was talking, I got to shrink in size apparently too.
No, I think it'll be good for the film that you're big, super jacked Gordon. We need a jacked Gordon.
Say Gordon's usually not 6 feet 260 and looking like a linebacker, but we'll see how it goes.
You could be alternate universe Gordon.
There we go.
So he also played in The House That Eats Flesh, correct?
Correct. Yeah. Played a couple different roles in that film. I got to play Baghead, which is the primary main killer, if you will. I guess the house is really the killer, holistically speaking, and uses people to get it fed. But we had, an unfortunate, I preface this with the fact that the person was fine, recovered, but a gentleman had gotten COVID who was supposed to play one of the characters, so they couldn't fly in to play the character Mark. And, Josh kind of said, well, you're playing Baghead, but you have a bag on your head the entire time, so we don't see you. Do you want to be Mark? And I'm like, hell yeah, I want to be Mark. I'll be anything you want me to be. Let's go. So I started learning the few lines that Mark had, and had a fun time with both of them. So, which was good because my mom had joked when I told her I was going to be in this movie, and it's allotted. It was one of the bigger visual presences that I had in the film. She was like, so let me get this straight. You're going to be in a film and be in a lot of the film, and you have a bag on your head the entire time, so nobody gets to see you. And I'm like, I'm sorry. So once I got to be Mark, I got to message her, and I was like, hey, Mom, guess what? You can see my face in the film for a few minutes. It's good. So it's good stuff. But, all good.
And you were in that with our mutual friend Yvette Holder, or as people know her on social media as Sushi.
Sushi, yep. Had a lot of really cool people in that film that I know that you've talked to, that we're friends or mutual friends with, that I will be getting to work with in the future as well. So it's that was a very cool film. That one and the other one, similar to it in nature, was the Naughty List, wherein the majority of the cast actually crashed at the house together. While we were filming, everybody either crashed on a sofa or a floor or a sleeping bag, air mattress, whatever. So like I talked to you before, in a lot of these things, you meet the folks, and some of them you only get to see between action and cut, and then you kind of do your own thing after that. Some of them you kind of interact a little bit, either before the scenes or after the scenes. In those two particular films, we actually lived together in the houses. So we ate together, like I joke around, there were some people snoring. We all were laughing at them because they were snoring loud. They were waking us up. So we joked about their snoring, and you kind of go from actors that become friends to actors that become friends that almost feel like family at that point. So it'll be really cool to see some of the family again in some of these future films.
Now, the Z Dead End movie, what happened with that? Because I know you were telling me this morning that you had, what was it, scheduling conflicts or something?
Yeah, I like I said, I do software development as a living, and we rotate support. And when we rotate support, we have to be available basically 24/7 in case there was a problem. And the date that I was supposed to film, unfortunately, I was on support call, so I couldn't leave. I've chatted with Robert because I heard they're going to be doing some pickup scenes, and I let him know, hey, I don't care if my character is my character. Obviously, that character may have had to been eliminated because I wasn't there for that. So if there's whatever you need me to be, just let me know where, when, whatever. And as long as I'm not having to work at that moment, I'll fly out and get it done because I want to be a part of that film.
Yeah, because you be there with Felisa Rose, Kane Hodder. That's just to name a few. I mean, there's a lot of old school horror heavy hitters in that movie.
Well, not to mention one of the James Bonds is in that one just as well. So
yeah. Mandy, got any questions?
Yeah.
I'm not letting you
not
speak.
that. It's like, have you covered asking him if he's mentally prepared to play a part as the Commissioner Gordon from The Killing Joke?
No, I didn't.
No, like I said, when I was listening to a live stream or I don't know if it's a podcast or live stream or whatever. I'm old, so I really don't know the difference between all these things. But I was listening to Anthony talk about it, and somebody had mentioned Commissioner Gordon. Kind of like I said, he was kind of like he's a nerdy character or something like that. And so Anthony's comment or response back was, "I picked the perfect person for that role." So I look forward to chatting with Anthony about his expectation of that role. And like I said, I plan to a book that John had mentioned I'm going to check out, as well as some of the videos of portrayals of different actors that have played Commissioner Gordon, so I can kind of get a feel for the different ones and then talk to Anthony to see his exact vision, so I can kind of convert myself into his vision of that. So not there yet, but I plan to be when the time comes. Yes.
I'm going to see if I can share. I got a digital copy of a book it's basically like tales from the GCPD, Gotham City Police Department.
Okay.
And it kind of goes a little bit. I think it's actually the book that they based the show Gotham off of. It's
Really?
the inner workings of the Gotham City Police and their day-to-day lives, and you look at it through the eyes of certain officers, and then a young James Gordon and Bullock and all them. And it's a very good book.
Yeah, I'll definitely check out anything and everything to try to get, like I said, to get into the vision that Anthony's looking for. And that's the kind of thing that I really enjoy with respect to a challenge, is to find out from the producer and or the writer and director what they are, if they're looking for something specifically, and to challenge myself to transform myself into that, so that when you see me on a screen, you don't see Shawn portraying Commissioner Gordon, you see Commissioner Gordon, and I kind of disappear behind the scenes. So that's the goal.
So did you know, Mandy, that he was born on Friday the 13th?
Yeah, because I totally stalk him. No, I did not know that.
Just wanted to make sure. Just asking.
Now,
but we know what John's like, I don't know. I guess he's going to be celebrating your
Well,
birthday.
it just leads into.
It's like, do you normally dress up like Jason Voorhees for your birthday?
No, I
would.
I have some masks. I mean, have done a couple photo shoots. My girlfriend's taken some photos, and some both in Michael and Jason. She's a Halloween fan, and I'm a Friday the 13th fan, so we butt heads a little bit. But if you want to know something that's actually also cool, my mom told me this. I didn't put it on a IMDb, so this is literally news to you guys only. She said that she was actually that one of the names they came out with me first before they named me Shawn was Jason. And she said they didn't name me Jason because she said Jason Thompson didn't sound really good. And obviously back in 1970, it wouldn't have mattered. But to be in 2022 saying, yes, my name is Jason and I was born on Friday the 13th, that would be freaking awesome. But, oh well.
Talk about missed opportunities.
No doubt, right?
Well, that was leading into the question I was going to ask, though, Mandy, was have you ever had anybody offer you to play Jason in any fan films? Because you've got the body structure for it, and you got the birthday and all that. Yeah. So what else do you need?
There was a Canadian fan film that they were talking about a couple years back.
Sorry.
And I don't remember. I don't remember what the film was called. There was a Canadian fan film, and he got in touch with me, and he said I sent him a photo of me, and I was like, this is my size, this is my frame. What are your thoughts? And he was like, sounds good, let's do it. And COVID hit, and that kind of every couple months I was like, what are your thoughts? Because I'm still, there's the dream. I want to play Jason. And it kind of went, yeah, we're still waiting for the international travel restrictions to go away. And then it kind of was like a couple months later, yeah, we're just, and then a couple months later, hello, who's there? So unfortunately, kind of faded away into nothingness, but I'm hoping one day, yeah, that is definitely a bucket list dream come true, is the opportunity to don the mask in a film.
I bet he said, like in that script though, I bet he says sorry after every kill.
Yep.
Just
no.
Look at John turning red from that one.
Yep.
It's just a little joke, John. God.
The Jason with a heart, Friday the 13th part.
That's the Canadian version. He like goes and chops down the kids in the woods, and he's like, oh, sorry.
He feels bad about it. Goes back and reflects on it for a while before he goes to kill the next one.
Canuck Voorhees.
See? It's like, sorry.
The killer with a heart.
That was greasy. I didn't learn that until I started talking to like Steve Merlo and them. I guess greasy is like shitty in Canada.
Did not.
Yes, it's like,
See, they can't even say shitty. They're just like,
Like,
that was greasy. Sorry.
that's funny.
Okay. I'll drop it because I'm just gonna keep giggling to myself about it because I have like this whole movie in my head now.
Well,
we should make it.
Look at you could turn it into a horror comedy and film it. You could call it the Canadian Jason. I'm already ready to go. Let's rock this. Come on.
He's like, let's do it. Yeah,
Yep.
I'll do it.
We need
Just
a
call
Jason.
it. I'm sorry. Friday
sorry.
the 13th.
I'm sorry.
No, it would actually be Saturday the 14th. I'm sorry.
and I'm a day late. I'm sorry.
It's the
Jason takes
no, it's
boxing
the
day.
day after. It's the apology. It's like Saturday. It'll be Saturday the 14th. Apologies.
Hockey mask has got the little maple leaf up top.
Yeah. See.
He wears the Canadian national hockey team's Olympic jersey for his.
He leaves pancake syrup for all the families of the victims.
He just pours it all over the victims.
I've killed your family. I'm sorry. Here's some maple syrup.
You can always tell when he's killed somebody because he's put a Molson beer in one hand and dumped maple syrup on them.
He's like,
I gotta stop, dude. I know a lot of Canadians, and I'm gonna catch shit, like hardcore shit from them. Sorry, Steve. Sorry, Scotty. And Matt Skinner. See, I know a lot of Canadians are gonna be, hey, asshole.
Well,
I don't think they're gonna be that upset.
I'm sure they throw down equally hard on the U.S., so it's all good.
I would never fight a Canadian hockey player. Nope. Not going to happen. You want to win a war? Or have you ever figured out why people don't fuck with Canada? I tell you why. You watch hockey? Why would you want to screw with people like that?
Yeah.
They hit a rubber puck like over 120 miles an hour at each
Not
other.
everybody's a hockey player, John. God, I'm ready to go fight him.
Yeah,
Let's go.
exactly. Exactly. You don't want that smoke.
There's not a bunch of. They're not all hockey players. I'm sorry. You're not going to walk up to somebody and they're going to be like, "I'm Canadian and a hockey player."
But see, I grew up in Washington. I grew up in D.C., so we had Scott Stevens up there on the back in the Capitals back in the day. So that guy almost liked to fight more than he liked to play hockey. I mean, it was wonderful to go see him because you were like, all right, how many? It wasn't a matter of I think he's going to get in a fight this game. It was like, how many is he going to get in a fight with? And it was.
And if it's the same Scott Stevens, I think he also played for the Jersey Devils, and he was like a goon for them too.
That's right.
And he's responsible for killing Eric Lindros. Basically, he was the reason why Eric Lindros' career was cut short.
He was basically a boxer that also enjoyed playing hockey, is what he was.
You did not. I am an avid hockey fan. I have a closet full of hockey jerseys. Scott Stevens was that guy that everybody always said you never put your head down when you played against him, because if you put your head down, you were going to wake up in the hospital.
Yep. Yeah, he reminded me of the brother in that Paul Newman movie, Slapshot.
I'll send you. I know you don't care, Mandy, but I'll send you a video of him hitting Eric Lindros. He basically knocked skates off that kid's feet.
Yep.
I'd rather have cookies. Send me cookies.
I'm gonna make you super jealous. I baked Reese's Pieces cookies the other night.
Yeah, whatever. Screw you.
I'm
gonna get my Cookie Monster movie made, and you know what? We're gonna make in the movie. He's gonna be eating little cookies that are shaped like you.
Can I
little John cookies?
Little John cookies.
Can I play Cookie Monster?
No.
I'm perfect for it.
Sean's
I'm already husky.
Monster.
You just got to pay
Sean
me.
is playing Cookie Monster.
There you go. I'm putting it on IMDb now. Cookie Monster. It's on.
He's gonna be the killer Cookie Monster.
Right.
But he's a bodybuilder. He's got to watch his diet and stuff.
You got to at least put a little protein in the cookies.
Yeah, but you can. They have costumes.
Me, my body already
And
looks like
movies are
sausage
fake,
muffins and
John.
frowns.
John's just like, I just wanted access to free cookies.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing.
He's got to paint me blue. I can argue cookie.
You know, I painted myself blue once. I was 4 years old. I found a can of paint. I painted myself blue from head to toe. Hair, everything. I wanted to be a Smurf.
And you didn't get sick from that?
My mom sat there over top of me with, she was using olive oil on my skin to try to get it all off. And she's sitting there crying, trying to wipe it all off of me. And I couldn't understand why, because I thought I was amazing. I looked amazing.
Well, it reminds me that
Sorry.
That one girl.
It really happened.
The one actress got sick in that James Bond movie because they painted her all in gold or painted a large chunk.
Yeah, she got sick from it.
She got sick because her skin couldn't breathe.
I remember my mom crying and just me being like, why
It
are you crying?
and the irony right then is she missed an opportunity to say, "Don't be blue."
But I was only 4. My first pair of eyeglasses had Smurfette on them too.
There you go.
I used to have an 8-track Smurf tape. My grandparents used to have an 8-track player, so 8 tracks were still around when I was younger.
Yep.
And I remember I had a Smurf one, and I would sit in the bedroom singing Smurf songs. Yes,
John's
I just lived.
like 60. What are you, like 68 now?
I'm 46.
I was going to say you player like it was a shocking thing. I'm like, I remember my Star Wars soundtrack 8-track. Yeah, played it often.
I miss 8 tracks, man.
Yeah. The only thing bad about them is that you couldn't fast forward or reverse.
No, you had to let it play all the way through, and then you flipped it.
And it was just 4 different programs. You had to click through the programs. So, but you could not skip a song. That was depressing.
There's a young kid at my shop, Nick. He just got done rebuilding a Camaro, and he left the 8-track player in it.
Really?
And I was like, damn, kid, I figured you'd be one of them, you'd want that new technology in there. He goes, nope, I want everything in it the way it was when the car was made. And it just warmed my big old Grinch heart. I was like, finally, there's a kid out there that still appreciates the shit that we had when we were young.
So he only kept the 8-track. He didn't bury, conceal a 10-pack CD or DVD or CD, nothing. Really? Wow.
Nope. Went on eBay, bought old 8-tracks. He listens to old music he's like one of the very few younger kids that I see that listens to music I listen to, like AC/DC and Kiss and stuff like that.
See, my dad, we were talking about albums earlier. My dad, he just recently, it was a couple years ago, got a record player again and literally broke out the albums that he's had and has moved place to place to place with for the past 30 plus years. And they still play beautifully. So every time I go out to visit him, he's a Four Tops and Temptations fan, so he's got the Four Tops and he's got the Temptations, and it's on LPs all day. I'm like, there's a sound to it. I mean, it's funny because I'll throw DVD at home or everything's digital at this point, so I can just Pandora the entire thing and just listen to something all day long and never have to touch anything. Where he has to flip an album or whatever all day long. But there's I can't describe. There's a perfect sound that's almost soothing, that they probably could have kept when they went to digital, but just making it binary, it cleaned it up too much. It's beautiful sounding, but there's a soothing sound that's missing in the old record player.
The old vinyl records, well, they didn't have the technology back then, which I've heard it on these newer vinyl. They were able to eliminate it, but the older vinyl, you could sometimes hear things like commotion going on in the studio in the background if you really listened. Like after a song, you can hear the producer go, okay, good, that was a good take, let's go on to take 2. It's just little things like that they missed that gave you that connection with the band more than most music would. Case of example, the old Pyromania by Def Leppard. If you listen at the end of, I think it's side 1, you'll hear Rick Allen, their drummer, start counting off cadence, 1,
Really?
2, 3, and then
Wow.
they'll hit. And
Cool.
the newer releases of that, they
Got it.
cut that out.
And you wonder why they do that. I mean, you want to actually ask them, why would you do that? Because I guess, maybe the future generations don't want to hear that because that's impure or whatever. But I look at it like that's the reality right there. Enjoy the reality of it. I mean, it's kind of like listening to some. I mean, oh God, I'm going to sound old. I listen to Frank Sinatra, and
I
he
love
does.
Frank.
I have most of his albums, and if not all of them. And I love listening to his live stuff when he's in front of an audience at a bar or whatever, and he's talking and he's laughing, and sometimes he messes up, and there's just something that's just there's something genuine to that, more so than this is the 80th take and we've got it perfect and everything sounds pure. Like, no, there's a warming feeling to that. There's a cool story. My grandmother, she's passed away, but my grandmother, when she was a teenager, she and some of her friends cut a couple albums. And this was back in the day when, I'm going to use the wrong terminology, but you go into a malt shop or whatever they had back in the day, and they had a little studio there, and for whatever you pay a quarter or whatever, and you could cut a song. And they cut these albums. The album was literally steel on one side and the vinyl on the other side, and you'd have your 2 or 3 songs for however much it cost. And sometimes the local DJ would play it. She was born and raised in a small town in Kansas, so the local studio was probably someone that you knew very well. And probably about 25 years ago, she happened upon some of her albums, completely unplayable because they were just warped and scratched to shit. And I was going to see if I could find somebody to do something. And I found a guy that was local, and he said, yeah, just put them in the mail. I'll see what I can do. And I'm like, I'm not putting these in the mail because there's irreplaceable, and this is beyond irreplaceable, because there's irreplaceable and there's sentimental irreplaceable as well. So I was like, where are you located? I will drive them to your house. And his house was, about an hour and a half away. Drove him to his house. We had 5 or 6 albums. And he said, I'm not sure what I can do, but I'll do the best I can. He called me it was about 2 or 3 months later. I was almost to the point where I was just going to call him and say, just give them back if you can't do anything. He goes, they're not good, but I got music. And I went, and he burned them to DVD, gave me back the original albums. And it is amazing to hear my grandmother in her teens, my late grandmother in her teens, singing with her friends, realizing, think about what we were like in our teens when we were immortal and the world was ahead of us and life was, everything was in front of you. And hearing her sing with her girlfriends was just, first time I heard it, tears streamed down my face, just blown away. I was like, this is my grandmother. So I have digital copies of it, and it just every once in a while, because she's obviously said, like I said, she's passed away, and every once in a while I'll listen to her sing, and it's really, really cool. So
I need to get the name of that guy from you, because I have Kiss's Love Gun album from 1977.
Oh wow!
And it's warped. And I had a guy tell me, "Oh, just put it in the oven at 100 degrees, and it'll."
No.
And I'm like, "Dude, no!" I was like, that album goes for thousands of dollars brand new on eBay. Yeah. I am not putting that in the oven and melting it into just a big old glob of vinyl. I mean, it's warped. It won't play. I mean, it's basically like half mooned a little bit. But
yeah, I'll see if I can find that, because if he's still local, he'd still be doing it. He had the mansion that he was in. He was in his studio, or whatever you want to call it, behind his mansion, and he had just equipment top to bottom, left to right, just doing stuff. And it was amazing what he was doing. And like I said, it's not perfect. And you hear the static, and you hear the pops and all that kind of stuff. But, she's in there with her friends, and she's giggling and laughing and singing. And she's like, okay, now it's your turn. And her friend comes in and sings and laughs and has fun. And it's just really cool because, when you're thinking about your grandmother, you're thinking about someone that's in their 50s or 60s or older. This is someone that's literally the age of, a little bit younger than my kids are now. And you're like, this was her when the world was ahead of her. And she's laughing, singing, not a care in the world. It's amazing. Oh, I see a dog. Who's your dog?
This is Jax. And right now he's staring at me like I'm the best person in the whole wide world.
Yeah, normally he's evil.
Yeah, normally he's evil. Right now he's being very loving, so I'm taking advantage of it.
Don't blame
Other
you.
times it's like yeah, I try to touch him and everything, and he just sits there and growls. All he does is growl.
I've
Right
never
now he's
understood that about Chihuahuas, why they just have that
uh-oh.
aggression to them.
The
He just
dog
looked
that
over at the phone and realized there's people on there. He's like,
breed of dog that believes they are a lot bigger than they truly are. Now,
Yep.
Jax, I have to ask because it is a sort of uncommon name. Where did you? I'm gonna guess where you got the name from, but is it from Sons of Anarchy?
No. My friend, it was my friend's dog, and she had named him Jax, but it was just kind of a spin off from Jack the Skeleton King.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
From Nightmare Before Christmas.
Either one works. My girlfriend is in love with the Jackson Sons of Anarchy, and one of her favorite movies is Nightmare on Elm Street, or the Nightmare.
I could never sit and watch that the Son of Anarchies.
Yeah.
I just could never sit through it. I'm very weird. I don't watch very much television, and then when I watch the movies, that's kind of when I actually sit down to do it. It's very few and far between these days.
Really?
But yeah,
Wow.
I kind of take everything and I'll like watch half of it now and half of it another time. But I do like movie nights with friends and everything like that. I'll sit through it. But yeah, and I just have an issue with sitting there for too long.
Yeah.
But I'll watch my shows and everything. Like I did watch all of Lucifer.
Okay.
That show. I really love Tom Ellis. So if he's listening, I love you. Leave your wife for me. And then and then okay, it's like of course I've watched all of Buffy. Probably watched all of Charmed, but those are older shows. Yeah, I don't really watch that like complete like seasons and finish a series. And
Right.
but I'll eventually do it, but it will take me like a couple years.
Wow.
Shawn is like, oh my God, you're strange. Yeah, I'm very strange, especially in this field.
There are times, and it's so. I saw a meme probably about a month or so ago that said the idea of watching an 8-hour movie is absolutely insane, but I'll sit down and watch 8 episodes of a 1-hour show without a problem in a row. And you're
I
like,
could never do it.
yeah.
I could never do it.
I was hooked on the Supernatural show for the longest time, and I used to have. Was that him sneezing or something?
He sneezed. And he's looking at me like, what just happened to me? I'm sorry.
That just caught me off guard. I was like, "What was that?"
It was a little tiny sneeze.
I got hooked on that show Supernatural, and everybody's like, "Oh man, you're watching a chick show," and I'm like, "Dude, that is not a chick show. If you go and watch it, it's actually really good." It's
Really?
Oh, that was my son's favorite show. I would sit and watch a couple episodes here and there. No, that was a good show. I just could never finish it though.
I might
Like one of these days, I'll watch a few more episodes, but then it'll just probably take another few years.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I might have to check it out if it's that good.
I see Jax. It's like, I'm not done with you, Mom.
He's not. He's all pissy now. He's like,
Well, he's adorable.
I love Chihuahuas, but everyone I've ever met was an asshole to me.
Yeah, sure.
Oh no, yeah, he tries to eat everybody. He tries to kill everybody. At our last house, he'd run out the door and run into the neighbors' houses whenever they would open their doors to attack them in their own homes.
Yeah.
And he was out of control when I first got him, and he
Yeah,
was very brave.
Every Chihuahua thinks they are a bulldog. It's comical because you're just looking at this 3-pound little ball of spit coming at you screaming like crazy, and you're like, dude.
When I first got him, he was 2 pounds. He's only 3 pounds now. That's funny, but yeah, he's a mini Chihuahua, and he's only 3 pounds.
Jeez.
He's a little tiny guy. He's smaller than a football.
I used to have a Min Pin, and he was the same way.
He's done.
He did not. Why did he start growling? But my Min Pin, we named him Diesel because he literally thought he was Cock Diesel. You know, he would challenge everybody. I had an American Bulldog named Tank, and he would run up on Tank like, and Tank would just look at him like, "Bro, I will literally eat
you." I was gonna say your bigger dog was like crap bigger than you. What are you doing?
Yeah, Tank would just lay there, and Diesel would just run up to him and just like bite at him and everything, and Tank would just roll over and look at him like, "Just go away.
Yeah.
You're annoying. You're really just not worth my time at the moment."
Pretty much. That's probably
Jax.
the only reason that the bigger dog didn't do anything, because it's like, this really isn't even worth my time. I'm barely feeling this.
Yeah, my dog Tank, I went downtown. It's when I was living in Georgia, when I was stationed there. I went to go pay the water bill. I still remember, went to go pay the water bill, and I come back home and he's just sitting on the couch, just laying there chilling on his blanket, and has the most innocent look on his face that I could tell just by looking at him, like, what have you done? You've done something. Because normally when I come in the house, he's running up to me like I've been gone forever. But he's just laying there on the couch like, just don't go in the kitchen. Just don't go in the kitchen. He chewed through the washing room door for the laundry room door. Chewed through it in the 30 minutes I was gone. I'm like, what in the hell? And everybody's like, did you lock him in the laundry room? I was like, no, he has free roam of the house. When we're gone, he can go outside. He had a little door and everything. I was like, he can go outside.
Yeah, I had a growing up, I had a chocolate lab, or my family had a chocolate lab, and I'll never forget coming home one day, and she had chewed through the drywall, and when I got home from school, literally head in the drywall, wagging her tail, just excited as can be to see me, and I'm like, dude, what the hell are you doing? Your head's through the drywall. Oh dear God.
Well, I talked to a dog trainer online about that, because I was like, why would he do that? And she goes, that was probably his way of being mad at you because you didn't take him with you.
Yeah.
There you go.
Because normally when I went anywhere, he normally, rode shotgun with me.
So the next question, that leads to the question, after that day or after that revelation.
Yeah, I didn't leave him alone anymore. They want to come home with everything eaten in my house. Not because I was worried about that. It was because I didn't want to have to take him to the vet to go get his stomach pumped because he ate a door.
Exactly. Yeah, when do we find in your dog? Is a door small?
He wasn't getting enough fiber in his diet. Jeez.
Apparently.
It was just amazing to me that in 30 minutes he destroyed that door like that. I mean, he was a big dog. He was intimidating as hell when people would come over that's what always got me. People would come in the house, oh God, you got a bulldog. I was like, just let him come over and smell you, and then after that, he's cool.
Yeah.
Now, if you come walking up in my house and I'm not home, you might have a problem.
Sure. Yep.
But if I let you in the house, you're fine.
Yeah.
And then they would get super nervous because he'd get up on the couch with them and just stare at them.
Because you're probably sitting there looking like this right in their face. Yeah, that's always.
My buddy Jason Plitt, I still remember, he comes there and he's just sitting on the couch. He's like, and Tank gets up there and is just staring at him. And I was like, Jason, you can't talk to the dog. He's not going to kill you. And just as soon as he said something to Tank was just wallering all over him and licking all over him. I said, see, he just wanted you to pay attention to him.
Exactly.
He goes, oh, I thought he was contemplating eating me.
Well, maybe.
And I'm like, yeah, that's why he's licking you right now. He's just trying to find out how you taste.
That's how you scare someone that's not a dog person. They look at me. They must be happy. No. They're just checking flavor.
And I'm like, look, dude, I'm not one of them types that I beat my dogs and make them mean. I've always said that dogs are mean because of how people treat them. And, now sometimes, I mean, they all have personalities just like people. Every now and then you'll get one that's, less than nice. I've mainly seen that in cats more than I have dogs.
Yeah.
I had a cat once that nobody could mess with her but me. If anybody else went around there, you were coming back with a nub because she was going to eat your hand.
Oh, yeah.
And I would warn people, like, do not reach down there to her and try to pet her. It might look inviting, and I get it. You want to because she looks super cute, but I'm going to go ahead and let you know. She's going to rip your hand off.
Yeah, I had a cat when I was younger as well, and the adorable 10% of the time, giant pain in the ass 90% of the time. So my cat Rocky growing up turned me into a dog person. I can't stand cats. No offense to anybody that loves them, but I'm a dog person.
I've got my cat Lily, Mandy. She's got her cute little kitty,
yeah.
Lucifer. That's his name. But no, I mean, cats are just like dogs. They just want attention and stuff. But like I said, I had that one, and she was very much a touch me not. And and even with me, she never would attack me, but she would let me know when she didn't want to be messed with. She would growl,
Right.
or she would just flick that tail like that, letting you know she was aggravated. And you just had to read the room with her. That was all it was.
Yeah.
Now, and then you just, at night you'd be sitting there watching TV when it was quiet or whatever, and she'd come get in your lap and go to sleep.
Yeah.
But like my friends would come over, I'd be like, "Hey, dude, just don't try it."
I just remember my cat growing up would walk by the back slider, and you'd be like, "Okay, the cat needs to go out," so I'll let her out. And as soon as I would get up from being comfortable, go open the slider, close the slider, go to sit back down, and the cat was already at the door, basically doing it. I just wanted to see if you'd get up and now let me back in now, and then you're like, "Thank you, jerk." Well,
I'll put it to you this way: that big bulldog of mine, who was not scared of the min pin, was scared of that cat.
Because he probably learned once, got too close, got swatted, and said, "I'm good."
Yeah, Tank would not go anywhere near that cat.
Yep.
And we named her Baby Girl of all names. Yeah, she was Baby Girl, all right.
There you go.
And then when we moved, we could only bring so many pets, and so we rehomed her and made sure she had a good home. And then when we contacted them, she was talking about how she loved her kids and she was just a big old cuddle bug. And I'm like, well, what in the hell?
Yeah.
The whole time I had her, she wanted to eat everybody that come in the house. And maybe it was because I had the dogs or something. I don't know. Maybe she was just constantly in a state of agitation.
Like you said from before with the Joker, she got pushed and said, "I've had enough. You crossed the line."
That was the only thing I could figure, is maybe just having the dogs just kept her aggravated all the time, especially with Diesel. Diesel was just all day long. And even that annoyed me.
Now, I'll never forget, my cat's name was Rocky, and my mom got me the cat, and I told her, I said, I want to name it Rocky because of the movie, obviously. And she was like, "Well, it's a girl cat." And I was like, I don't care. my favorite movie is Rocky. Let's do this. So I had a girl cat named Rocky. But
I've always preferred girl cats over the boys.
Yeah.
Boys get a little too, I don't know, territorial.
Yeah.
And
girl
I had a bad I had a bad experience with the male cat because when I first got him, he sprayed everywhere, and then after we got him fixed, he sprayed still, and it was like, I'll just only own female cats from now on.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen it.
No, that's not right, but that was just my mindset. I just had that bad experience. I mean, you go buy $3,000 worth of furniture and then come home one day and a cat is sprayed on it, you get a little mad.
Yeah. The same thing with dogs. I've found I haven't really had any bad experiences, knock on wood, with the female dogs that I've had in my life, but the male ones all want to lift a leg on everything I own. So it is what it is.
That was the one good thing about Tank. He was a male.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, if he couldn't get outside, he'd go in my game room I had. And of course, he'd leave you a nice surprise in there, because sometimes for some reason his little dog door would get jammed up.
Right.
So I wouldn't be mad at him. Like, look, dude, I get it. You couldn't get outside. It's cool. Whatever. Yeah. I never had problems with him trying to lift his leg on anything. Right. And I guess maybe it's because, as the vet told me, he's accepted the fact that I was alpha in the house.
There you go. No, makes sense.
Sorry, John. I just pictured you living in a volcano and then there being a doggy door on the volcano where the dog just goes out. And
that's
the reason why it's blocked is because the lava went whoosh.
Well, that's not nice for my dog. He would have got burned up.
I just figured everybody could handle.
Yeah, she has this thing where she thinks we all have to walk over lava to get anywhere.
Well, and I seriously think that you would have to jump into a volcano in order to go to Walmart.
No, we don't do ritual sacrifice to go to Walmart over here. Like I have to throw a virgin into the volcano to get access to Wally World.
And I really picture you wearing a grass skirt and hula dancing everywhere.
That's terrifying.
It is. I'm not gonna lie, but I still picture it. because I'm, I stepping ahead a little bit.
My pale pasty ass in a hula skirt.
Well, we weren't telling you to be naked underneath it, John. God.
And a coconut bra.
You could wear like some freaking shorts. We don't need to see your pale ass.
Leaping from volcano to volcano like a video game.
See?
Like a hero should.
See, nobody is safe with me. I went
there you
from
go.
Canada to Hawaii. Who's next?
Yeah, so in Mandy's world, if you get killed in Canada, they pour maple syrup on you. And if you live in Hawaii, you have to get blessed by the volcano gods.
That's you. I think if
you wanted to
in
hand
Canada, they just leave the syrup on your family's
doorstep. Oh, they say I'm sorry to
Yeah.
everything.
That's right.
They do say sorry to everything. They're like, I'm sorry.
But you leave a jar of maple syrup to the parents for apology for killing their kid. Yes.
Yes. It's a gift of forgiveness.
And
I could see Jason Voorhees doing that if they actually went and made that movie. I could see him leaving jars because he lives in the woods, so obviously he has access to maple trees. Imagine that, a Camp Crystal Lake in a maple tree forest, and there you go.
Yep. You got the kills, and afterwards you can see him tapping up to a tree. You can pop.
Yeah, he's going up to it, going.
Partnership with IHOP.
It's like, so I killed your kid, eh? So
I'm sorry.
Sorry. Here's this jar of syrup.
Sorry.
I'm offering you this as a apology for murdering your child at the camp.
Just make sure you had A at the end of it. Sorry.
I'm sorry, it's impulses. It's like Tourette's. I see a kid, I have to cut him up.
It's not a bad story, though.
No. I mean, as much as we've evolved it here, I think it has to happen.
See? We've done a lot of brainstorming, and I can actually see this happening, and it's not a bad story. It's not.
I don't think we wouldn't be able to film that in Canada. We'd have to film it in the States, which would make it more apropos, I think.
Yeah. We'll film it in Michigan.
There you go.
in the cedar swamps. Just kind of looks like Canada. A lot of people there talk Canadian.
Perfect.
There we go. We got our location. All right, Mandy. Need that script.
On it, John.
What was it? I was just thinking of the title to it. Friday the 13th, Part A.
Part 8?
Sorry, it went over my head.
No, that doesn't. No.
The Maple Syrup Massacre?
No, that sounds like the Chainsaw Massacre, which that would be good too, if you wanted to make a Canadian version.
Yeah, he's just pouring maple syrup on them before he hacks them up.
You could bring a platter of your child's barbecue ribs with syrup over top of them.
See?
Hey, Steve Merlo, I know you watch my videos time. We need that. Maple
Steve's
syrup.
Steve's going to be like, this is ridiculous. You two are ridiculous.
He was down for a movie I pitched to him. I said, let's make a movie about
I know you said that hockey one, right?
A hockey Frankenstein.
Okay.
Where they create the perfect hockey player out of dead hockey players and call it Frankengoon.
Frankengoon. All right.
Hey, they made
I
Wolf.
don't know. I'm sorry.
They made Wolf
I
Cop
like
in Canada.
Yeah.
I like the Friday the 13th one.
But you need to come up with a catchy title, and
I told you guys it has to be like based off of Saturday the 14th because it has to be apologies. It has to be like Saturday 14th. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
like the day after, he's sorry for everybody that he butchered in the woods.
The Boxing Day Killer.
There you go. No, Boxing Day. That's the
day after Christmas.
Yeah.
That's not going to work, John.
Does Canada do Boxing Day? I know it's a UK thing, isn't it?
Yeah, because technically they still recognize the royal family in Canada.
Do they really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep.
No, it has to be like Saturday. It has to do with Saturday, the day after, and it has to be like a big I'm sorry thing, like apologies.
Well, you just have to make sure you don't get in trouble because they made that Saturday the 14th film back in the.
Well, no, you can't say Saturday. Well, that's a different one. So you have to be like.
Right.
That's why it
I'm
would be
sorry.
like.
I'm sorry. The 14th.
Yeah, something like that.
A. Put comma A.
And then it'll be the Canadian Voorhees.
Just put comma EH at the end. I'm sorry.
See?
Everybody will know it's Canadian then. I like it.
We'll give him a French Canadian last name like Jason Wah.
Nah.
No. She's clearly taken the production reins of that and just said that's not happening.
I like how to think about it there for a moment.
God, she's like a producer at a big studio where you're trying to do pitches and shit. No. Like fucking Kevin Feige and shit.
Oh, wait. You know how you could also this is what we need to do. And you can watch. She's going to shoot me down on this one. I already know this. We could have you be touring Canada from Hawaii with your grass skirt and your coconut bra on.
Who, me or
you?
You, John.
Okay.
So you are visiting Canada, Michigan.
See, I'm from Florida. It's pretty scary here, anyways, no matter what. So that's
already. He's from Florida too.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, Orlando.
Yeah, you don't mess with Floridians.
Right.
Just eat a bunch of bath salts and eat your face off.
Say we're weird in Florida. We're the only state that has a man, Florida man. We're the only state that has one of those because we do such weird shit in this state.
It's all over though. It's just for Florida. It's because we get all the weirdos from everywhere else that come here that bring their weirdness from every corner of the friggin' world, basically. And then we get called, you say, yeah, Florida's a crazy place. Well, yeah, it's like you keep throwing everybody in here and it's like a potluck of crazy. It's like from all over the freaking world.
I was watching
your big cities, especially.
I was watching a news story probably about a year ago. They caught a guy, or they hadn't caught him yet, but in the middle of the night, he was going doorbell to doorbell and licking the doorbells, and so they had the Ring doorbell, licking the door.
What the frick?
I can't.
I just want to know what drugs you have to be on to go, it's the middle of the night. I'm just going to go door to door and lick your doorbell. Not ring it and run. Just walk up, lick the doorbell, and walk away casually. I'm like, oh my God.
I'm thinking of like the cops who had to go around and be like, do you have a camera? Can we watch your footage so we can see if this guy licked your doorknob? But it's like our doorbell. It's like, how many, it's like, was he arrested for that?
I don't know if they caught him or not. I just saw the story, and the sad part was I remember reading the headlines, and I'm like, I guarantee this is Florida. I was like, yep, Florida. Crap.
You imagine that on your Ring camera? He's just coming up going.
Don't do that again, John. That was scary.
See, it works.
No, I mean, like, he might have not looked scary. You never know. It just might have been like,
how the hell is that not scary? A dude walking up and licking your doorbell. That's terrifying.
Not scary. What was scary was the night that I was sitting there and I was getting ready to go to a friend's house and my dogs kept barking and I kept looking out the windows and I didn't see anything. So finally I go to the window and because they were barking. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to close the blinds because it must have been people walking up the streets. There was somebody crouched down on the ground outside my freaking window and they like jump up really quick and they're like, oh, sorry. They're like, let me in. And they're holding this freaking long ass cord and everything in their hand. It looks like a breathing tube or something. And they're like, let me in. And I'm like, no, I'm not letting you in my house. I'm like, you need to go. And they're sitting there just yelling it and knocking at the door still. They're like, hey, let me in. And they kept doing it.
Like, not by the hair of my chinny chin.
I know, exactly. But I called my brother, and my brother got there in like 5 minutes. But when they realized because I called my brother first because I figured he would show up, faster than the local like sheriff's deputies because I don't know. Sometimes they're like, doo, 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 doo.
Like
I'm going to insult a
Enemy,
lot of cops right now because a lot of
like the
times they
Public
are.
Enemy song 911. Get up and get down. 911's
Um,
just going down.
but yeah, it's like they left when they realized I was on the phone with the cops and stuff, and it just, yeah. But they had a they're holding up this breathing tube in their hands, and they're just like, "Hey, yeah, let me in." They're like, "Just let me in." I'm like, "What?"
as if displaying the breathing tube is going to make you go, oh.
I know. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I was like, you need to fucking leave now.
I wasn't going to before, but now that you're apparently offering an homage of a breathing tube to me, come on in.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, that's like, I go, I want to see what you're going to do with that. Like, yeah, let's improvise here.
Too much eating, enjoying the stream.
There you go. Nothing wrong with that.
What time?
But that's scary. But yeah, not the
it
licking of the doorbell. The doorbell thing, I'd just be like, yeah, kids were at it again or something, you know. But
yeah, but it's not sanitary. That's ugh.
That's one of those things.
That's what people that like raise their kids completely wrong, obviously. Sorry. What? It's like their parents are gonna be like, hey, my kid goes around licking doorbells. I wonder how many parents have their kids. They like can say that about their kids. I bet there's a lot. And I bet a lot are gonna get offended by this. It's like if your kid licks a doorbell, you raised them completely wrong.
You know that you're reviewing your Ring Cam doorbell thing the next day to see what happens because you probably got an alert that something happened. You're looking at it and you're like, did that just really happen? Wait, there's no way that I just saw what I think I saw.
Yeah, because they're all motion censored, and you go on and you can actually pinpoint the time and stuff like that. And like you look at when it says, "Oh, it came on at this time," and you're like, "Oh, well, that was interesting."
And like I said, it wasn't that he like ran up and did it and ran away. It was just kind of like wandering up like you're going to ring the doorbell, and instead of ringing it, licked it, and then just kind of randomly just walked away like no big deal. Like that's a thing.
Where exactly did that happen?
I don't remember, but it was just so funny because it was like it was so nonchalant. Like that's a thing that people do. It's not a big deal. I'm like, oh my God, thank you, Florida.
Nothing says I'm raising my kids right like them walking into a random stranger's house and licking the doorbell.
Licking the doorbell.
That is a win. You get a scratch and sniff sticker for that, sir.
Yeah, that's not scary though. That's just a bunch of that's just
weirdos.
Icky. It's just gross. Yeah. Because like you said, they're sitting there and all the germs and everything, like the amount of people that did touch that doorbell, because I'm pretty sure people don't go outside and sanitize their doorbell like every single day. Everybody's gonna be a lie and say, "Oh yes, I've been doing this since COVID." Liars. Yeah. Nobody wipes down their doorbell. I don't want to hear that crap.
I caught hepatitis. I can't understand why all of them did was lick about 50 doorbells. Why have I got botulism all of a sudden?
That's like, exactly. Somebody could probably just scratch their butthole and then press the doorbell. It's like nobody's going to sanitize that.
I got this weird rash. It's just been spreading all over my body, and all I did was get dared to lick this doorbell across the street.
I got cramps from licking a doorbell. How's that possible?
Goes into work going, "Hey, buddy, how you doing? Why are you talking weird?" "Oh, well, I was brushing my teeth this morning and my tongue fell off."
Imagine like all the fungus, like if they like start like the fungus and stuff in their mouth. My tongue is turning green.
Kind of like
I look like I should be on Ed, Ed and Eddie. My green tongue. You ever seen that cartoon?
No,
I just had like this whole thing go through my head. It's like you could put like eyes on the tongue and like they could pretend it was the Hulk and everything.
I was going for Canyon Creep. Remember he played that character in Creep Show. He had the green stuff growing his tongue.
Yeah.
He licked his fingers a second and took him over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Ooey. As my friend Adam, you say ooey ooey. God.
Man.
Good. Yeah. Extremely okay.
So don't lick doorbells because what's going to happen is you're going to grow a fungus on your tongue. And your whole body.
It's going to be a new hashtag. Don't lick doorbells.
Well, I was going to say that the comical part to that is that you felt compelled to add a because to it. I mean, you should just don't lick a doorbell. You could.
I know, it's like, I wonder if they're going to put that on the packages now, because I've seen that the pizza boxes are saying don't eat you have to open the box to eat
the box before you eat it. And you're like, what?
Yeah, it's like they put that on the boxes now, and then you're wondering, it's like, what the hell happened? It's like, I have to see the story. It's like, I have to know what happened to put
I thought it was part
there.
of the pizza.
It's like, because they had to put that on there. So now it's like, you wonder, it's like, are the doorbell, like the companies that make them, are they going to put that on their packaging? Please do not lick doorbells after installed.
They open the box, they eat it, and goes, well, this is way better. I just thought it was super dry in the past.
It's like, imagine that. It's like they cut it, like the whole box, all of it, in slices, and just sat there.
There was
using the garlic dip and sauce. Like, God, I can't get so dry. Just so dry.
There was a meme I saw to that effect that basically said, if you think the older generation's dumber than you are, just keep in mind that the booklets for the cars back in the day told you how to adjust your timing settings to have your car run more efficiently, whereas these days it tells you not to drink the wiper fluid. So, I mean,
and we're also the generation that played with lawn darts. Sharp objects that we used to throw into the sky and see who could move out of the way the quickest.
Yep.
Until we went into
good times.
Between that and the soldering set,
that's how you beat out the week.
About 6 inches long. You're basically welding metals together 4 inches or 3 inches from curtains. I'm like, yeah, that was genius right there.
Remember the rockets that you used to get?
Survive and build the strongest of men.
Remember the little rockets you'd get? You'd put the water in, and then you put it on that thing and pump it up. Boom. And if you pumped it too much, it would explode in your face, and shrapnel of plastic would just get embedded in your eyes and skin. Safe toys.
Well, I don't know if you guys did this when you were younger, but I shocked my my girlfriend's brother. I was talking about when we were young and we get dressed in Army camo and go in the woods with our 10-pump BB guns and go shoot each other. You had two teams on opposite sides of the woods, and you'd go at it. You got your pump BB gun, and you were shooting at each other. Didn't think anything. He looked at me like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's what you did."
My mom didn't let her little girl do that, but my one brother, who'd go out to the woods and everything with his friends with the BB guns and everything, and they would go shoot each other. Yep. And then I think it's funny. It's like they sit there and they have like the airsoft guns and everything.
Yeah.
What did they say with that?
Crib says, I always ring my doorbell with tongue. Definitely not touching doorbell with finger. That's gross. Who knows who touched it?
Touch it with your tongue.
That's awesome. So I think we found a culprit, or at least a potential culprit right there.
It's like, what are you doing? Hold on. You
home? I don't want to touch it. You don't know who's touched that thing.
No, sir.
It's like there's like somebody who it's like I really enjoyed shooting with the BB guns when I was a kid, but it's like maybe we should make it to where it doesn't hurt as bad. So then they came out with like paintball guns and then the airsoft guns. And
you want to talk about a bad day? I knew a girl back home that got shot in the ass with a BB gun one day, and as she was running home screaming and crying.
Did it get stuck in her ass?
I don't know, but she ran across the where a septic tank was, right? And the lid on it was cracked, and she fell through it and fell into the septic tank too. You talk about a bad.
As a toxic venter.
There you go.
She looked it when she come out.
Looked it and smelled it.
You talk about a bad day. Shot in the ass and fall into a septic tank.
I think you made up the septic tank to look cool.
No, it didn't.
I think you're just trying to make your story look cool.
As you say,
because she was shot in the ass and it did stick in her ass, and you're just like, I don't have anywhere to go with this.
No,
John's looking at me like, I hate you, Mandy. Stop talking like that to me.
The best part about it is, if you think about it, she will tell that story in the future, and she'll go, "Man, I got shot in the ass with a BB gun, and it lodged in my ass, and that's not the worst part." And they're like, "Holy crap! What's the worst part if that wasn't bad enough?"
Yeah. You just said it. Crap.
Exactly.
Fell into a septic tank.
Because it's like, if she got shot in one side and got stuck, you know, it like would make like a dimple. So she would have to be shot in the other side. So that way it would look like her ass was smiling. So it had dimples.
And if she had an open wound on her ass, she would have gotten sick from falling into the septic tank, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like hepatitis.
I'm not hearing anything that you're saying anymore because I'm just picturing an ass actually smiling with dimples.
With a smiley face. Yeah.
You know they have websites for that, Mandy.
I don't need to know about your collection, John.
It's called X Video. You can look it up.
See, we didn't need to know. We didn't need to know.
And this segment of the show is sponsored by X Video, apparently.
It's sponsored by
basically
Trojan condoms.
Like he just did a complete free like shout out for them there. They're like, yes.
Ribbed for her pleasure.
They're offering him like they're offering him like 30 minutes of unlimited access every time he mentions their name.
Well, I'm single and lonely.
Wait a minute. We went from X Video to when you're single and lonely. So
I don't know. It's like asses. I guess he's trying to find somebody. I try to help him. I try to pinpoint women for him that he could go and date and everything like that. And he's just like, no.
No, she pinpointed to me long distance relationships, and I don't do that.
I understand.
Liar.
How are you supposed to be intimate with somebody long distance relationship? Are you gonna be like
the same way you're intimate with X Videos?
Creeper in the phone going, so what are you wearing tonight? And
yeah, you do that with them.
Yeah.
They like that.
Excuse me, I gotta make an adjustment as my battery's about to die.
So Doomsday says one of my friend's brothers shot him point blank in the head with a paintball. I've never seen a welt that big. Looked like he had another head growing out of his forehead. I've been shot with a frozen paintball before in the side. That sucked hardcore. And we didn't freeze them on purpose. It was just super cold back home one day. And I wouldn't say they froze solid, but a cold paintball sucks.
Yeah. I was playing once in college, and I had my back up to a barrier, and a guy leaned the gun around the barrier. He didn't know where I was, but I knew I was somewhere in the vicinity. Just blindly pointed a gun behind the barrier and shot. And that was back in the days when you had the one-shot guns, not these days when you're basically firing full automatic. But he shot one, and it went into my ear area, into the canal. And I yelled out the loudest F-bomb that I think I've ever. And he goes, "Did I hit you?" And all I could get, I just kept yelling F, fuck, as loud as I could over and over, because he hit into my ear. And I had yellow paint and blood coming out of my ear for probably 2 or 3 days. It hurt like nothing I've ever experienced.
So it ruptured the hell out of your eardrum.
It sucked bad.
Did you lose hearing? Did you lose hearing because of it?
I heard ringing for several days. It came back, but I heard nothing but just a ring for several days. Like I said, I don't know if it was dried blood liquefying to come out, but the guy felt horrible because he didn't realize. He knew somebody was over there, and he probably, if he would have said, "Do you surrender?" I would have looked for the gun and then surrendered, because it sucked.
I was playing. When I was still in the military, we went to a paintball course one time just to take the soldiers, and we were sitting there shooting, and one of the guys shot, and he didn't mean it, but that little chest plate they give you, for some reason, when the paintball hit, it didn't bust. So it bounced up and hit me in my throat and busted. And dude, I was gasping for air. Nobody could understand what was going on because I was sitting there going, I couldn't breathe. I couldn't talk. And then
that's the thing. You're trying to recover, and they're like, "Are you okay?" And you can't respond to them to recover.
No, I was sitting there raising my hand going, "Don't shoot, don't shoot." I'm sitting there going, "Ah." Yeah, that was my last time playing paintball. I was like, screw this shit. Nope. I'm not doing this no more.
I don't blame you.
Because it was like a week. I couldn't eat anything solid. I couldn't swallow. My esophagus was screwed. All I could do was drink.
Jeez.
Yeah, that was like you. That was like some of the worst pain I've ever felt. And I've broke bones before, and it didn't hurt that bad.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there going, great, I'm going to die playing paintball.
Paintball. Yeah.
With these jackasses. This is awesome. This is my final spot, God. Thanks.
That's it right there.
I thought maybe I would die of a heart attack or something else. Nope. I got shot in the fucking throat with a paintball.
Ricochet paintball.
Look at Mandy with her facetious look on her face. I can tell it. She's got something smart ass to say.
I was just going to call you guys crybabies, but that's okay. Look, John's all proud. He goes, I knew it.
Known you long enough. Normally she
John's over here like, that wasn't very nice.
It wasn't.
No.
Well, I am not the Canadian Voorhees. You do not get an apology out of me.
Mandy says, fuck sorries. Good. You could be Canadian Voorhees as Tommy Jarvis then. You can be his arch enemy. The unapologetic hero.
Oh, you can make, the Canadians will appreciate it if you make him American. He doesn't apologize for anything. They'll love you for it.
The American dickbag takes on Canadian Voorhees.
There you go.
That's me.
I'm sorry. I'm not. Then it explodes.
Oh, that is a great video game sequence. Like how Mortal Kombat character type things.
Exactly.
Like Street Fighter. You have the Canadian Voorhees and
fatality.
I'm digging it.
See?
Jason apologizes for every single kill, and the other guy just says, you know what, I'm not sorry, I don't care. And then goes, America.
Yeah.
America.
Then an eagle just flies in with fire and fireworks.
Every time. America.
America. Fuck yeah.
Oh my God. Imagine if it was oh, wow. What
was that? The old Denny's commercials back in the day where the old man was sitting there and he was eating the freedom pancakes or whatever the hell it was. That guy goes, so what's that there you're eating? He goes, freedom. Just keeps on eating the pancakes. No, he said it tastes like America. There you go.
I want pancakes really bad. We keep talking about syrup and everything, and
to say you guys are killing me. I'm hungry. I gotta go eat.
Sausage and pancakes.
I got to go grocery shopping so I can eat. I haven't reached that level of stardom yet where I can hire somebody to go grocery shopping for me.
Yep, you still got to jump into the volcanoes.
Yeah,
volcanoes with the grass skirt on to get food.
Cannonball.
I can see
cannonball ass
your
first.
Grass skirt, you start jumping and the grass skirt just starts floating up in the air.
Everybody gets to see everything. And as I'm falling, I go, see me, and then I hit.
But make sure you do a superhero landing. It's like Deadpool says, superhero landing.
Yeah, I got to do that Iron Man fist to the ground.
That's right.
Landing.
That's right. That'll work.
Well, I think Shawn wants to get out of here because he was talking about we were making him hungry.
I'm hungry.
You're making me hungry too, and I'm a fat boy. I like food.
I really want. I was joking. I really want some pancakes right now.
Get Emmy to make them for you.
I want pancakes, and then I want some syrup. I'm going to add some red food coloring to it.
Red food coloring?
Yeah, make it look like I'm eating bloody pancakes. I'm going to do it.
Okay.
As much as I love horror movies, I cannot go to Halloween parties where people make cupcakes and they put the eyeballs and shit on top.
Why?
I just can't do it.
Why? Does it actually gross you out?
Yeah, it does.
Now here's one. Let's say one for you, because the cupcake, that wouldn't bother me so much because it's not real looking. I've seen a lot of people make these cakes that look like real stuff. Like I watched somebody had done a dog, and it was realistic looking, the shape. It wasn't like a dog on top of a cake. It was the cake itself was in the shape of a dog. And they go at it with a knife, and I'm looking at it going, dude, this is not right looking. and then they show you that it's just a cake, and I'm like, no, I'm good. Just make a cake. That just
I like
weirds
the
me.
ones that look like bloody body parts, and they cut them up and everything. They look realistic.
I can't do
Yeah.
it. Just can't do it.
Now I know what to send you later, John. Like a bunch of reels on
There you
people
go.
cutting
hey.
into realistic looking food and eating
Like we
it.
had a Halloween party one time where this person made almost like human brains out of Jello, and everybody was sitting there eating, and I'm like, I can't do it, bro. Just can't
Really,
do
the
it.
only thing that grosses me out about food is when they actually have like the whole pigs that are roasted. And you like go to actual like Christmas parties and they'll have them like for companies. It's like they'll decide like the best thing to do is these big gigantic roast pigs, and I'll be like, or the people like you go to their house. It's like, oh yeah, we cooked it in the ground and blah 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 blah. But then you look at it, you're like, I can't freaking eat that.
With a pig sitting there going,
Yeah, because its eyes are.
looking
It's
at
like
you.
no, this
Still got-
really looks
still
like
got the
something from a
spout
horror
on it.
film. The pig's sitting there like, and their eyes
Yeah.
are all gone and like cooked into their heads, and it's just like, who the heck can eat that?
And people were just pointing at it going, yeah, the best meat's right here around the ass.
That's
And the
right.
pig's just like,
And everybody's lined up with their plates and everything. And it's like, no, it's like, I really don't like meat that much. I'm sorry. But it's like, that's the only time. It's like when it's an actual pig that's been cooked. And usually they like, because for like company parties and everything, they get these gigantic freaking pigs that are like the size of a human. It's just really gross. And I'm sorry, the smell of it does not smell good. The smell of a roasted pig like that does not smell good.
My Uncle Gordon, I grew up on around my uncle's farm back in North Carolina, and he always had pig farm and some cows and stuff, so we always got our meat from him. But he used to make hog's head cheese. And I know y'all be from Florida, you know what I'm talking about. But for those of you that are not from Florida that don't know what that is, it's a southern delicacy where they basically make a Jello mold out of meat from the head of the pig. And I'm talking snout, tongue, cheeks, ears, all that shit. They mix it with vinegar, spices, cucumber, and then put it into this like bread pan and put it in the freeze or refrigerator and let it congeal.
Mm-hmm.
And then they use it as a spread for crackers. It is the grossest shit that anybody has ever conceived eating.
I was gonna say, I got you. I got Scottish in my family, and we do haggis. So,
but I don't mind haggis. I like the taste of haggis.
If haggis is done, I was over there and I had some, and it was absolutely phenomenal. It was so funny. I was there with my aunt, and she, aunt or aunt, however you choose to pronounce it. But I was there with her, and they, the final night you're over there, they have this big dinner thing, and they serve you the haggis. And I was like, so what is this? And she was like, just try it first, and I'll let you know what it's in it, what it's made of.
Did they do the blessing of the haggis?
They did. They had the big stomach, and he pulls off the skin dew off of his ankle and slices it open in front of you, and he scoops it out and puts it on the things. I'm like, okay, cool. And I ate it. I was like, oh, this is really good. What is it? And then she told me what it was, and I was like, huh. Now, fast forward about 15 years, my
your son gets, hi, Mom.
My my girlfriend and I are at a Scottish festival here, and I was like, you got to try it. We're here. You got to try it. And suffice it to say, it was not good at all. And Mom, I'm hungry.
Oh my God.
So suffice it to say, phenomenal pictures of her taking a bite that was about one morsel and then spitting it out immediately afterwards. It was that bad.
No, that's Emmy. Emmy is on her dad's account.
Oh. Hey, Emmy, I need a thumbs up, Emmy. Emmy does the cutest thumbs up. She goes.
He must have signed into YouTube and everything on her phone for her.
But haggis.
What did she say?
Said she was hungry.
She goes, hi, Mom. Mommy, I am hungry, Mommy.
Yeah,
Mommy, it's Emmy.
Mommy, it's Emmy.
He's way out west, so he's not hungry yet. It's dinner time here. It's time to go get food.
Yeah,
yeah, it's 5:30
I'm Scottish. Here. I'm Scottish descent too, and I've had haggis. Haggis ain't bad if you look past it. Mandy is what it's made out of. And
okay, you know what? No, don't even try with me right now. No.
It's not bad.
No,
is it, Shawn?
Like,
it's actually pretty
good. Let me try to manipulate you into thinking that maybe you'll like it. Yeah.
Well, it's so funny. You don't even have to tell a person what it is. all you have to say is cooked inside the belly of a lamb, and they're like, yeah, we're good. Done.
Yeah, it's
No.
like, no, thank
But
you.
don't people realize that when you're eating sausage, the casing of the sausage is actually intestines?
Intestines, yeah.
That's why I peel it off.
Just saying.
Yep, it is.
I
And
used
if
to
you
sit there and watch my Uncle Gordon make sausage, and he would take the small intestine and put up there and just fill it with meat, wrap it, fill it with meat, wrap it.
They don't do it with all sausages anymore, though.
No, they have like this man-made casing
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
It's probably worse for you.
I was to say the natural stuff probably pissed off too many people, so now they got some man-made thing that's probably they're gonna find out that 5 years of it inside your body destroys your insides or something.
But I was the same way with the haggis thing when I first. But I'm also not against trying something.
Sure.
But
I'm against trying things that sound
when
really
they cut it in
disgusting.
two, and the way that they displayed it, I was sitting there looking like, well, it doesn't look bad. It really doesn't. And you had mashed potatoes next to it, and some vegetables, and all this stuff. And then they sing songs, and you drink some whiskey, and the whole the poem called "The Blessing of the Haggis" and all that. And it
Oh
was
my God,
great.
it sounds like a freaking cult.
No, it was awesome. It really,
really cool.
It put me in touch with my.
Sounds like something that you would do in a Texas Chainsaw Massacre film.
Mandy, it really puts you in touch with your heritage. It really does.
Yeah, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre heritage.
But when I tried it, I was like, man, this is going to be terrible. And when I put it in my mouth, I was like, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
It
Well,
really
the funny part was, like I said, I ate it, and then she told me what it was, and I'm glad she told me afterwards what it was, because it was good. I ate it all. It was really good. And then there were a couple people at the table, because, again, they're basically serving it not as a portion of a meal if there's leftovers. It was basically so everybody can say they've had it in Scotland. And there were a few people I remember being at the table was like, I don't want it. And I was like, hell, bring it over here. I'm hungry. This is good. I'll eat it.
Well, see, people don't realize that haggis is actually was started as a famine food because when the British were invading Scotland, people were starving to death, and that's what they lived off of, and it became a national delicacy. Now they have like who can make the best haggis in Scotland, and if you were deemed the haggis king, you're like freaking royalty there.
Okay, so, haggis king.
Is that the that we're done?
Yeah.
I'm gonna send you some haggis because I got an online store that sells it out of Scotland. I'm gonna mail you some.
Oh, you got to give me some if it's actually good.
Yep,
you send it to Shawn because you send it to me. I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna let it go bad, and I'm gonna mail it to you in something that you're not gonna recognize it in, John. And then you're gonna open it up so it'd be all putrid and gross.
Yeah, I don't want old haggis. Send it back to me.
You're gonna. No, I'm gonna send it back to you, and it's gonna be old and gross. You send it to me when I don't want it at all. You're gonna get it. Like, I'm gonna get my revenge.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'll send it to Shawn, then he'll like it.
Yes, send it to somebody who likes it. Don't waste it on me, because I won't appreciate it. I won't. But you can send me cookies.
Yeah, she likes them Hawaiian cookies we have over here from Aloha Cookie Company. Even though she only got maybe one of them, her daughter.
I got like 2 of them. The kids left me the ones with the damn coffee bean on them. I was like, you know what? You guys suck.
Never even heard of that before.
Yeah, we have coffee farms all over the place here in Oahu. So they make a particular cookie there at Aloha Cookie Company, and they put a coffee bean on there. I always pick the coffee bean off because the whole cookie's made out of Kona coffee.
Oh, okay.
So
it already tastes like coffee. But that was the only one I got.
You can pick the coffee bean off it.
But it's the only one I got.
I like the ones with the lilikoi jelly on it.
Well, you know what? I didn't have that one.
I have a poopy in my diaper. She said, what?
All right.
Okay, I have to go.
All right, everybody. Well, everybody, thank you for joining us for another episode of Behind the Fiends. This has been John, Batman Mandy Catone, and Commissioner Gordon Shawn Alexander Thompson, and we will see you again next time.
Take care, everybody.
Bye, Shawn.
Have a good one, buddy.